Hi guys, so I've got another budget-friendly meal for you tonight. I'm going to be making kid-friendly pork and turkey meatballs with sweet potato fries, and I'll probably just do frozen peas or corn or something in my steamer in the microwave. I'm going to be air frying the meatballs. I've never done it or used it, so I'm kind of interested to see how they come out. And I think I'm just going to bake the sweet potato fries in the oven. So I'll show you guys what I'm doing. So everything I'm gonna need, I've got my cheese grater, my food processor, teaspoon and a tablespoon. I've got the lean ground turkey, sweet Italian pork sausage. I only had baby carrots, so I'm gonna use those because they need to get used. Some Italian style breadcrumbs, eggs. This recipe calls for a cup of grated Parmesan, which I don't have, so I'm just gonna grate up some Colby Jack and use that. Garlic powder, cumin. As you can see, I usually buy bulk spices and put them in other jars. Coriander, ground, some sea salt, and some pepper, and some leftover sage that my mother-in-law grew and gave me last season. If you guys don't have one of these or haven't seen them, my husband got this for me for Christmas last year. It's absolutely amazing. It is an electric pepper grinder. Makes life so easy. And then there we've got our sweet potato. So we've got 1 cup of breadcrumbs, 2 beaten eggs, a teaspoon of sage. I probably used a little bit more than that. 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of cumin. I would go a little less on that. It called for a tablespoon of salt. I did not fill that tablespoon all the way, and I would go even less on that next time. 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, some pepper. And then it called for a cup of grated Parmesan. I didn't have that. I used a cup of grated Colby Jack, and I had pureed some carrots in my food processor. And then we're just gonna mix it all up. Make sure you take your rings off so you don't get meat all packed in them. And I decided to make my meatballs on the smallish side. They take less time to cook, and then I would have more of them, but you can do them whatever size you want. Same as spices. If you didn't like some of the spices that were in there, you can adjust it to what you do like. The carrots are a nice additive, especially for the kids, because it gets a little more nutrients into them. So I'm just packing these meatballs tight on this pan because I am going to be air frying some of them. And then I am going to bake some of them once I realized how many there were. And almost done. So here we go. All in all, in the end, I ended up with 52 meatballs. So we're going to have lots leftovers, lots to save. Cutting up my sweet potato for sweet potato fries. And I added olive oil with some garlic powder, onion powder, some sea salt and some pepper, and put those in the oven at 375. It ended up being about half an hour. And here is the final result of the air fryer meatballs. They look great. They were cooked perfectly. So all in all, I think this recipe turned out pretty good. I definitely like the look of the air fryer meatballs better than the baked ones. Well, they're still baking, but I did decide to bake half of them because I just didn't want to take forever switching out different batches. And I figure for anyone that doesn't have an air fryer, know that you can bake them in the oven. So I put them in at 375 and I put them on for 20 minutes. And they're not quite done yet, so I put them on for another 10, and then I'll check them with my meat thermometer and see where they're at. I did try one of the meatballs that came out of the air fryer. It's really good. I'm glad I didn't put the full tablespoon of salt in. I would even go a little less on that next time. And I would put a little less cumin in. It called for a tablespoon, but it was like a little heavy on the cumin side, and I like cumin, so That's about the only thing I would change with those. The sweet potato fries are still cooking. I might toss them in the air fryer now that it's freed up, but they're in the oven baking right now. And I figured out the cost for this meal. So this meal cost $10.26 US, which is where most of the groceries came from. And it would be $14.15 Canadian at an exchange rate of 1.38. And it made like 54, I forget how many, 50 plus meatballs. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna cook them and then freeze a bunch for later meals because we're not gonna eat that all. And the sweet potato fries, we should have enough for tomorrow again. And then the frozen veggies were really nothing. And then I didn't include your pantry items like your spices and olive oil and that because we usually have that on hand. But pretty budget friendly meal that made a ton of extras. So if you've got some time to make it and you just want to freeze a bunch, great for that. And I think it worked out pretty well. So I'll definitely be making these meatballs again. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, if I could have done anything differently, or if you just have questions about what was in it. Oh, and I think I forgot to add that I cooked the meatballs in the air fryer at 400 for 5 minutes and then flipped them, and then 400 for 7 minutes. And they are perfect. Checked them with the meat thermometer. They're not dried out or anything, and they're great.